Hello runners, this is message 2 and I would like to focus this message on the idea of control. It's a very important part of a runner's development. Typically when a runner starts running, the first goal is just about somehow finishing the distance. That's the first goal. There is nothing called control, because at that time your body is sort of getting used to this new stresses that has been put on, and as a result, initially it's all about somehow making it happen, right? But now that you guys have done 8 weeks of training, I mean, congratulations guys. Again, 8 weeks is not something to gloss over. It's a brilliant achievement. Now that you've done 8 weeks of training, now it's time for us to take our game a level up. And what I mean by that is that let us bring in the next form of getting yourself trained, and which is control. Now this mesocycle is all about that. Now when I say control, as I had mentioned a little bit in the previous message, control is about controlling the release of your energy. That's really what we're talking of here. Because at the end of the day, if you think about a long distance endurance kind of a training or a run, the limiting factor really is your energy levels. Of course, pain in the muscles and all that is also a limiting factor. But more often than not, it is when your energy levels gets completely depleted, that's when you have to stop, right? So our goal is to push that end point as far away as possible, so that when you do that, hopefully that end point is beyond your target distance for that day, and hence you don't have any energy deficiency at all, and hence as a result you'll be able to complete the run, right? So that's the goal. So for that, we need to start learning how to control the release of energy. Now there is no magical silver bullet of how to learn control. It's just by sheer hard work, training, and keeping that in mind and keeping that in focus. That's how you learn energy control, really. Okay, so I would give you 4 steps, like 4 stages of energy control that I would like all of you to start doing. Like, how does energy control look when you start focusing on energy control? So if you think about energy control, what it is, it's like every day in the beginning of your month, you're getting a salary and you're getting $5,000. You would like for as much of that $5,000, you like the cash to be available still with you by end of the month, right? That's when you lead a happy married life, in an ideal scenario, and not just happy married, like a happy life. So in an ideal scenario, let's say you earn $5,000, you want to end the month with maybe $1,000 in hand. So that means you still have some money left for any other fun activities or emergencies and things like that. Then you are in total control of your sort of financial situation, isn't it? So that means when you get your $5,000 at the beginning of the month, you got to make sure that you don't spend everything in the first week. So if you spend everything in the first week, then there is no money left for the remaining 3 weeks, and you are in for trouble. A very similar thing needs to be thought of in running as well. When you start a run, let's say you're going to do a 5-mile run, and when you start a run, let's assume that you have 1,000 calories of energy available in your body, and you start your run. In the first mile only, let's say you burn off 500 calories, or something like that. So whatever is remaining is now will get depleted before you finish the run, and as a result you're toast. So the way you make sure that you are able to spread and have enough energy right through the run is about controlling the release of your energy, like controlling your spend, if you have to talk in terms of financial terms. So the way that is done is by going through a series of training programs. So the first level 1 control is that make sure your first mile is the slowest out of all your miles. So let's target that. That's level 1 control, and I want to see that starting this meso. So that means, let's say I'm giving you a 3-mile run. An ideal pattern should be something in terms of splits. Your first mile is a 12-minute mile. The second mile is a 11-minute mile. Third mile could be 11:45. It doesn't matter. But the first mile is the slowest. That means what you have done here is, even though you had the highest amount of energy, which is the first mile, you literally didn't spend it. You went purposely slow, waited for your body to warm up, waited for you to finish the mile, and then slowly sort of increasing the throttle. That's really what you did. So that's level 1 control that I would like you to do in your run starting tomorrow. Then comes the level 2 control. So the level 2 control is what they call it as a reverse split. That means if you think of a run and divide into 2 halves, a reverse split run is that the first half of the run is slower than the second half of the run. That means you have enough control over the release of your energy that as you progress towards the second half, you are able to run faster. That means in a money analogy, you first 15 days of the month you spent a lot less. Out of that 5,000, you only spent $1,000. And now that the last half of the month is available, you feel a little bit more comfortable now, because it's only 15 days till I get the next paycheck. So I am going to spend a little bit more, go to those restaurants and enjoy yourself a little bit more. Something like that is what you need to do for running too. So how does that look? Level 2 control, how does that look? So let's say you go for a 4-mile run. The first 2 miles, you finish it in 30 minutes. I'm just giving you a random number. So that means like 15 minutes every mile. So first 2 miles you do in 30 minutes, 15. And then the next 2 miles you finish it in 20 minutes, 10. That's level 2 control for you. Okay, first half slower than the second half. Then comes the level 3, which we call it progressive reverse split, PRS. It is something that many senior runners are even addicted to that. They want to give all the runs PRS, because PRS is a very special thing, guys. The day you experience PRS, mark my words, you would like to do all your runs as PRS, because that gives you a sense of achievement. Now, what is PRS? So PRS, progressive reverse split, is essentially progressively increasing your speed every mile. So it's almost like a step function. If you go to Strava or one of your Garmin app, your stride will look like this. It'll keep going up like this, like a step. So how does a progressive reverse split strides would look like, splits will look like? First mile, 14 minutes. Second mile, 13 minutes. Third mile, 12 minutes. And the fourth mile, 11 minutes. Think about that. What a beautiful run that will be. That means as you're running, you're getting faster. That means from a control standpoint, you are supremely able to control the release of your energy in such a way that every mile you're adding a little bit, almost like driving a car. You're just pressing the accelerator a little bit more. That's really what you're doing. And that's progressive reverse split. And by the end of 1 meso, my assignment for you is, by the end of 3rd meso, the assignment for you is, give me at least 1 PRS. I mean, the more PRS you give, better, but at least 1 PRS. So the suggestion for all of you though, especially new runners, is don't be, should I say, don't try to jump the gun and directly shoot for PRS. I mean, it's a structured training, right? So I want you all to sort of go step by step. Level 1, hi, yes. Level 1, level 2, level 3. 3 levels. Try out the level 1 first, which is the first mile is the slowest. And then level 2 is the first half is slower than the second half. And then level 3, which is the progressive reverse split. The good news is the structure is such that as you get better at each level, it will only help you to do well in the next level, right? If you think about that. So that's the controlled run, guys. And can't wait to see those controlled runs. I hope you can nail it by end of this meso. When you say nail it, that means at least once you've done it, so that you at least know the concept, and that's going to help in the next meso. There is also a fourth level. It's sort of a advanced control, especially for long runs, think half marathon or even beyond, wherein you can't constantly keep doing PRS, right? Let's say you're running 18 miles. You can't be doing PRS for 18 miles because, you can't start at 12-minute mile and end the 18th mile at 7-minute mile. It's not possible to do that, right? So that's why we have what is called as a stacked reverse split. That means, let's say you want to do a 12-mile run, then you do the first 3 miles at 12 minutes. Then you do the next 3 miles, on an average I'm talking about. Then the next 3 miles at 11:30. Next 3 miles at 11. Like that, you are kind of stacking your reverse split in those blocks. And within those blocks, you can always kind of move around. It's not necessary it has to be reverse split. That's really how stacked reverse split happens, and those things typically happen at much longer runs, like 13 miles and above, where you can't do PRS for every mile. And I know some runners even try PRS for those runs as well, but those are all, I call it the PRS addicts, and there are some lot of PRS addicts in our group, and when you go to the Strava, you will start realizing and recognizing them. Kudos to them for making that happen. So that's the idea about control for this ex-meso, guys. So I would like you all to focus on that and try to do a great job of the control runs. Then comes one last thing, for doing all this effort, finishing meso 3 very well. We will have rest week right after 3 weeks of meso. So that means there's going to be 1 week after 3 weeks from now where it's complete rest. No runs, no strength, no cross training. Maybe you can just go for a nice walk. The idea here is, as I said, that technical debt that has accumulated over your body, let's give the body some time and complete rest and good nutrition, some tender loving care for your body to come back, so that we'll be ready for the peak meso cycle, which is the highest mileage, which will happen right after rest week. So guys, 3 weeks of training and 1 week of rest, complete rest or rest week, is what you're looking at right now. So let's finish your long runs for today and rest up next week. Let's hit meso 3 with full enthusiasm, and let's go and make it happen. Mind over miles, guys. Take care.